Hello, my friends. Hello, night owls. Shout out to the nocturnal folk who are here. What the frick is up, guys? Happy freaking Saturday or very early Sunday, depending on where in the globe you are. Tidings, good evening, good morning, happy middle of the night, late night, wherever you may be. Holy frick, long time no Night Owl stream, y'all. Oh my gosh, I'm almost like nervous because we used to do these all the time. And I don't know why I stopped. Probably because I'm starting to get geriatric and, well, no, I think it's more so that I'm trying to start actually being a responsible adult and not staying up very late. But we're operating on re-jet lagged. We are re-jet lagged all over again from Japan. We are in the process. I think we're fully recuperated health-wise. You can tell I've got my voice back. I can actually talk again. Thankfully, that did not last that long. I thought I was going to be in it for much longer, considering the sleep deprivation, the sheer just lack of sleep for honestly a whole week straight. Which is not good. I was thriving too much off of adrenaline. I knew there was going to be an inevitable come down, an inevitable crash, and that it would probably manifest via my immune system. Because I don't know about the rest of y'all, and I know I have shared this freaking old wives' tale on my channel before. I don't know whether this is myth or true, but my mother always used to tell me that if you don't sleep, you'll get sick. So maybe she just implemented that so deep into the crevices of my subconscious, the inner workings of my brain, that it has become this placebo thing of like, as soon as I start getting no sleep, my body's like, well, your mother told you this would happen, so sickness, illness. I don't know if that's just me, but anyways, shout out. Thank you all so much for being here. Oh my gosh, this feels like the good old days. We have Simply, shout out Taco, the Jedi, Sean, who I saw in the early gang. First thing as always, Sean is always coming in to hold down the fort as soon as the stream gets published. Nick Gundy, let's go. I'm totally gonna botch your name. I'm so sorry. Zashi Edits? Zashi? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. Jay, William, let's go, let's go. Bew Gaming, Tom, Matthew Tarpley, Charlie, of course, Julian, Daddy, let's go. Emery's, gang's here. Y'all are showing up and showing out. And shout out to, I know there were some in the early gang. I think Bird Church had showed up earlier as well. Let's go. Daddy Josh, Patrick have joined in. Chris, shout out, guys. Let's freaking go. Squad. I didn't know how many people were gonna be rolling in, holding down the late night fort, because it is a Saturday evening. And I know it is the Revenge of the Sith weekend. Let's freaking get it. That's half the reason I wanted to go live, because I feel like there's so much that has transpired that we weren't able to cover on Tuesday with just 1 hour of Dork Discourse. Obviously, we had freaking Andor. Then Tom and I went to go see an entire prequel marathon. Hayden Christensen and freaking Samuel Jackson showed up to the theater where we were present, unfortunately the night after, but that was still epic to see Star Wars, blasting that everywhere, and to see other people's POVs who were able to go. That was at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood last night, where Samuel Jackson especially was a surprise to the crowd. Chopper has joined. Joshua, hello from Long Beach. My friend Sabersmith, let's get it, let's get it. Cheers, Felipe is here. What's this live? It just showed up as soon as I opened up my YouTube, like in the recommendations. Well, shout out. I always love when people come in here and are like, I have no idea what this is or what's going on, but I'm here. Shout out. Thanks for joining in spite of not knowing what's going on. There is no point to this live other than we're night owls. We're getting after it. We get into the late night vibes. We're resurrecting a former trend on this channel here that I have just not done in a very long time. But perhaps I will bring it back now that I'm seeing that everybody's here. Toby Parker says, I missed the Star Wars Celebration stream. How was meeting Hayden Christensen? What did you talk to him about? Yes, like I feel like I haven't even gotten into the deets of getting to meet Hayden, Sam Witwer, holy shnikes. Chop says, you're out here living my dreams. Star Wars Celebration. Yes, meeting Rosario as well. we did not, unfortunately, get Sam Jackson and Hayden at that prequel marathon that we were at on Thursday. They went to the Friday evening showing. We were this close. We were so close, but the videos are still obviously so hyped to watch. Jack Thomas, hello. Thanks for joining. But yes, meeting Hayden. Holy frick. Well, as you guys know, as we discussed on Dork Discourse, we unfortunately, what we were most looking forward to was our signing session. We had bought an autograph session with Hayden for Saturday at Celebration, and we were going to have him sign the Revenge of the Sith themed jacket that I painted for Tom that he was wearing that day. I think they must have either oversold the signings, or just out of the goodness of his heart, Hayden had dedicated so much time, because the signings are more chill. You have a few more moments to like catch your breath and actually have a conversation with the person. At least that was the case that I had with Sam Witwer. Granted, that was the first thing in the morning on Friday of Star Wars Celebration, and I was like the 5th person in line, and it was like 9:10 in the morning, so there wasn't that deep of a line at that point. So it felt like we had some just more natural time to breathe and hang out, and he chatted with me for a few moments. So I think I said on Tuesday that it was maybe like longer than 1 minute, less than 2 total. But that's still way more time than the photo ops, where, holy shnikes, crazy, way more. They tell every second of the way, as soon as you get up towards the front of the line, they're like, go here, stand here, go, get ready. Okay, be ready, smile, stay calm, go. You say hi to the person, you're like, oh my God, hello. You take the picture, you're like, oh my gosh, did I even look at the camera? You black out for a second, and then you leave. So it happens within like 10 seconds because they got to keep people moving. So meeting him, I honestly didn't even have time really to freak out that much. And I do think it helped that I had been at the live stage on Friday morning first thing as well, and was within like arm's reach, a very long wingspan, a very long arm's reach of Hayden that morning. So I feel like it kind of like was a good brace to the system. I don't know. It was a good precursor to like, all right, don't lose your shits when you're in this man's actual presence. And I shockingly didn't, because it's such a whirlwind, and you're like you forget to breathe the whole time, and you aren't really making conversation. So all this was, long story short, we unfortunately did not get to actually go to our signing, where we would have had more time to, I think, actually chat with him. I probably would have self-combusted at that point. But for the photo ops, I mean, he was still awesome. He took the time to shake or acknowledge everybody in our group, because there were 4 of us. It was me, Tom, obviously, and Alex and his new fiance, Amanda. So excited for them. But he took the time to, say hi to everybody. I was the first in our group to go forward. So I was like, oh my God, hi. And he said, hi, nice to see you again. And I've never seen him before. So I was like, what? Again? I was like, does he recognize me from when I was in front row at the live? I was like, surely that's not the case. So I imagine maybe he just assumes that a lot of the people that he does these photos with, has repeat, folks and fans who have met him before. I don't know. That was my assumption. I was like, surely this is not because he saw me freaking out, screaming at the top of my lungs, actively sabotaging my voice box front row at the live stage. So there's a little bit more detail, but it is such a quick interaction. It goes by so fast. Charlie, shout out member for 43 months. Thanks for Japan Celebration, hanging out. Thank you guys for freaking, oh my gosh, coming to find us. I got to see Charlie a couple of times, which was awesome. Looking forward to seeing the next vlog. Yes, because our meetup, those of you guys who I was able to meet, Charlie was there, Daddy Josh, Zesty, shout out to Daniel, JT, and several others. We did a little, you'll see, we did a little mini interview session, and shout out to all of them. They were all like totally comfortable being shown on camera and whatnot. So definitely give the Sunday vlog some love when it comes out, because we have some special appearances from you guys. After seeing what you have seen, I finally saw the cosplay of Wookiee KFC. Oh my gosh. Yes, no, it was so much fun. So much fun, Charlie, hanging out with you guys. And we'll have to just do it again in LA. And I imagine hopefully a lot more folks will be able to make it to LA. I think LA is gonna be a party, y'all. I'm excited. Speaking of Sam Witwer, are you hyped for the Maul show? Yes, I know I think I probably in the live stream prior to the week that Tom and I left for Celebration, I think we were all trying to have some conspiracy talk and be like, what are they going to announce? Something has to be in the pipeline for Star Wars animation. What could it be? And I think a lot of people were prophesizing a Maul show. And I think at the time I was like, let this man rest. And all of that just went out the window when they announced it. And Sam Witwer, he made an incredible point when he and Athena Portillo were then immediately on the live stage right after the animation panel. You know, he said, especially because he is such an encyclopedia, you know, he has the archives in his brain. He loves Star Wars. Maybe even people say he rivals Dave Filoni in terms of his knowledge and just lore. And so he is this character. He has reinvented Darth Maul for so many of us. He's the reason Darth Maul is my freaking favorite. It's because of the Clone Wars and Rebels, his iteration of the character. And so he made the point that never registered with me. Like, Maul has always been the side, you know, the side quests in a lot of other people. He's never been the main focal point in his own show. Now he finally gets to shine like that, and they can really explore like the inner workings of his mind. And I was like, you're freaking dang right, Sam Witwer. So I'm very excited in that regard. And yeah, just to see, because I feel like he's always elusive and mysterious in these other appearances. You know, Maul in Rebels, he's this very intriguing, you know, antagonist, this pull for Ezra. So to get him in his full glory, where he's not going to be this elusive, you know, shadow, you know, lurking and waiting in the wings to cause trouble and wreak havoc and then disappear again, that will be very, very exciting. I'm gonna try to do a quick lightning round chat here. The photos are so fast, says Daddy Josh. Yes, you literally don't even take a breath the whole time. Chop says Sam Witwer has been one of my heroes ever since playing, oh my gosh, yes, the Force Unleashed games in my younger years. I need to meet him. Well, Chop, hopefully you're gonna be attending the LA celebration, and I'm sure there's gonna be some Maul show hype there. If it's in 2027, I think the Maul release date is I forget. But it would be, I'm sure it would be a topic of discussion there. I'm sure Sam Witwer will be making an appearance there. Does anybody else see Sam as Starkiller instead of Darth Maul? Maybe it's just his face. I think that's fair, Toby, especially if you were like Chopper playing the Force Unleashed games in your youth, if that was your first exposure to Sam Witwer, and then watched Clone Wars. I had the reverse, so I know him from the Clone Wars. And then y'all know I subjected myself to the trials and tribulations of the Force Unleashed. Dear God. So I guess it depends on your exposure. The Twi'lek in the Maul Shadow Lord trailer is Darth Talon without the tattoos. Yeah, very curious. I'm just going in open mind. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. That's how I am with this Maul show. Y'all know I'm gonna be freaking reacting to it for sure. Oh God, probably gonna have to try to keep from having a freaking meltdown every single episode. The Force was with you on that day, in reference to Friday at the live stage, William, for sure. Julian says, I've messed up a few photo ops from blinking or not looking at the camera, then have to retake them. That was our experience with our Sunday photo op with, once again, Hayden and Rosario. Tom blinked. And thank goodness the crew who was there orchestrating the whole thing, they were so courteous and took us back and let us redo it, which I wasn't expecting. I was like, the way that they have these things orchestrated, and it is so fire, lightning round, go, firing on all cylinders, everything, every step of the way. Like, somebody's instructing you where to go, where to look, and then you get there and you're like, oh, like maybe it's for the best because you don't even have time to have a cease to exist moment when you actually are like, oh my god, this person's real, because your brain is just so all over the place. So maybe it's intentional that they orchestrate it that way so that not every single person is having a breakdown as they meet their fave. But with that being the case, I was like, oh my god, I wonder if they would even let us retake this. I would not have been shocked if they were like, nope, sorry, one and done, live with it. And we would just have to have this photo of Tom with his eyes closed. Oh gosh, but no, they were so awesome. So shout out, they let us retake it, but it is just crazy. Hello, Aldo Phenomenal. What's up? What's up? The closest I've gotten to meeting Sam Witwer is one of my tweets being liked by him and winning an Obi-Wan versus Maul from Rebels print hand signed by him and Steven Stan. Oh my gosh, Chop. If Sam Witwer liked any of my tweets, I probably would cease to exist. So you're living in royalty right now is what I'm hearing. We have royalty up in the chat tonight, folks. Living my dream. Oh my gosh. Who knows? True. Maybe he's seen Theory's Vader fan film. You guys could be right in reference to Hayden suggesting hello again, we meet again, perhaps. But that might have been years ago, and I feel like I don't look so recognized. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not gonna read too much into it. Retro's checking in from the UK. It is 4 a.m. Oh, shnikes. I thought it would be a little bit earlier for y'all. Excuse me, later. I didn't think it would be 4 o'clock in the morning. Sorry about that, my friends. I thought we would have some more UK representation here, but that is me failing at math, so I apologize for that. But thank you for popping in for a little bit. You're a real one. That's dedication. One-man reaction faction, let's get it. I can't wait for LA. It will be my first experience, and I'm thinking of breaking out my Alan from the Hangover / Han Solo mashup cosplay with Baby Chewie. That is hilarious, and that's such an original idea. I love that. It would be my first Star Wars Celebration experience. That cosplay would totally stand out. Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. And I hope you get to go and live it out, have your first experience. That would be amazing. Hey, we got McBots in the chat here. Let's go. Elusive Moose, what's going on? Sam has the perfect voice for many characters. Indeed. That's why I feel like with every single Star Wars live action show, didn't he have a cameo role in Kenobi, or was... Oh no, there was an actor who looked like him in the background, and people were like, Sam Witwer! And he had to come out on Twitter and be like, that was not me, y'all. But yes, your brain is like jelly. Exactly, Jay. That's a perfect way to describe the photo ops. You're just blasted by the end. William has to peace out for work. Good reason to have to dip. Have a great Night Owl stream. Thank you for tuning in for even just a little bit. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your time at work. I had to do a double take with Sam Witwer, but I wasn't complaining. For real, Daddy Josh. I remember when Mark Hamill liked a reply, says Chris, and I had a double take to make sure that it was really him. No way. That's crazy. Mark Hamill was formerly very interactive with the fandom on Twitter, I feel like. So I believe it. That is so cool. It's 5:16 p.m. on my end, should you wish to know. Darnock, are you in Hawaii? Because you're... Or are you so in the future? You don't have to dox yourself if you don't want to, but that was the first guess I had. Because, yeah, 3 hours behind would be Hawaii, right? Or I don't know where else. Retro says this will be unpopular, but I preferred Maul as a one-off. Bringing him back, I find him to be a pitiable character. He doesn't have that intimidating edge that he had in Phantom Menace. Very fair, and I would say I agree with you on that. So much of his presence in the Clone Wars is him clawing back for revenge. You know, he's lost everything. He's lost his ranking, and he still has this desperation. He's holding out for hope that if he can just get his act together, Palpatine would reaccept him, you know, at his side as his right-hand man. So it does paint him in this completely different kind of desperate light Whereas, yeah, he's at the top of his game. He's like, oh my gosh, who the frick is this in Phantom Menace, and is way more menacing. I think that's why Sam Witwer's, performance and seeing him reinvented in the Clone Wars turned him into one of my favorite characters, because yes, in Phantom Menace, solely watching that as a child, he scared the crap out of me. So I agree 100% with everything you are saying. Did you see Manny Jacinto, says the Lowdown. We did on the live stage. We caught while he was there. Excuse me, sorry. We ran over when we heard that he was making an appearance on the live stage. And it was very cool to see. It was packed over there when he was doing his interview, and all the love for the Acolyte. And yes, I'm sure some of y'all might have seen it on Twitter or even heard it on the streams, but the crowd did start cheering like season two. And I feel like you could feel just the love radiating for him, which I'm grateful that he was able to have that experience. I wish the rest of the cast of that show could have shared that same moment of love and just appreciation that, people were really expressing for him there. Especially because they had the audacity to cancel the show allegedly on his birthday. So for him to have that, it felt redeeming in a sense, and to be gifted his helmet, it was really cool. You could tell that he just is grateful for that experience. And we will see, if at all the fans were heard. The demand for season 2 was very much there. There was no way to get around it. You could hear it. It wasn't just a small group of 3 people. It was honestly like the whole room. Retro, thanks for tuning in for a little bit. Time to try and probably fail to sleep. Peace out. Thank you for being here. We're around if you do fail. That's the purpose of these Night Owl streams. We're out here being nocturnal. But thank you for tuning in for a little bit. See you again very soon. The numbers don't lie. More people liked The Acolyte than those who didn't. Agree, Matthew. Agree. And it's there was no denying the demand for season 2 there. In that moment, having Manny Jacinto on stage, that was one kind of takeaway. I don't know if this applies across the board for Star Wars, but some takeaways from Celebration that I was able to garner were an emphasis on listening to the fans, particularly in the Visions panel on Sunday, when the showrunners were suggesting, we heard you guys, we heard people, pleading for more continuation of these stories, that they might just be 15 minutes long, but you guys resonated with these characters and said you wanted to see more. And so that's why we're getting in, volume 3, we're getting continuations from season 1. So, they really emphasized that they heard the public, the demand for more, and to go even so far as to have the new Star Wars Visions Presents, which of course will still maintain, non-canon, but will be this, I guess, mini-series of its own of, longer extended Visions content. Similarly to when Sean Levy came out with Ryan Gosling and they were announcing Starfighter, when they were on the live stage, they were really emphasizing, like, we know that people want something that feels like Star Wars, but is branching out from the confines of the Skywalker era. Like, we know what you guys demand, the caliber of Star Wars you're looking for when it comes to the action and the story, but we know people want to branch out and get something new and fresh that still feels real. Like, it felt like there was just a lot of emphasis, my takeaway, on trying to deliver what the fans want. JT has joined. Let's get it. What's up? What was your favorite panel you saw? Asks Julian. Probably the animation one. Probably because they showed the first episode of Tales of the Underworld, and then just being able to be there for the Maul reveal. And y'all freaking know, I'm finally able to live out my dream of going to Star Wars Celebration and witnessing an exclusive trailer reveal that they do not share with the rest of the world. Because I'm always out here feeling like a plebe, feeling left out, like I just need a morsel. Give me a crumb. Share that with the rest of us. If this was the other way around and I hadn't been able to be at the animation panel, you'd be hearing this rhetoric from me. I'd be out here like, freaking give us all the Maul trailer. You have it. Why not just share it? And part of me still does feel that way. Freaking share that with the rest of the world. What are you doing? You have a gold stash. What are you doing? So, but to be able to actually be there and have experienced that and then realize after the fact that they didn't release it to the public yet, that they just announced the show, I was like, oh my God, I finally get to live out my dream and be one of these special people who gets to see just, you know, special people. It was a packed freaking room. That room had thousands of people in it. And I'm sure somebody was recording. I don't know. I'm sure some of y'all have seen some leaks. We shall see. So, but either way, that was probably my favorite. I knew that would be the one where you would lose your voice, Kat, and it was Charlie. I do apologize, y'all, because as I'm in the process of editing these vlogs, I had no idea how much I was, like, it's no shock that I freaking destroyed my voice box. I didn't realize I was screaming. I didn't realize I was using the pipes freaking every 30 seconds, just shouting at the top of my lungs. But what else are you gonna do? I just wanted to show my love and excitement because that's the one place you can. I may or may not have seen a leaked Maul trailer, can neither confirm nor deny. For real, Chop. Exactly. I think footage from the Mando and Grogu trailer also got out, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, because they don't, shockingly, they don't do what you would assume they would if they have intentions of releasing a super secret trailer or footage or something like that, which is you would think that they would put your bags, or excuse me, your phones into one of those little bags where if you try to rip it open, it explodes ink all over or something like that, or it like breaks your phone. So, but with the crowds there, that would take way too freaking long. So like understandable that they don't run that tight of a ship, because if y'all have ever been to a concert or an event or something like that, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's this little sleeve where you put your phone in and they lock it and you physically cannot open it again, or else you risk, yeah, like maybe the ink I'm just thinking about, because that's what those tags are if you buy new clothing and you try to rip that thing off and it would spray ink all over the garment. But I think it does something to break your phone if you try to hack into it on your own. But then you got to wait in these freaking long lines, mass exodus at the end of the event, to have all of the staff freaking go and single-handedly, one by one, unlock everybody's phones. So that would just be a nightmare at Celebration if they were to do that. So just pretend you're Darth Talon, Cat. Well, maybe, y'all, I'm gonna get my act together and do some freaking cosplay. And perhaps inspire a live action appearance. For real though, regardless, I wanna cosplay something, y'all, next time around, because the cosplayers there were the coolest people. Oh my gosh, I need to get my shits together and try to go for the gold. Even if I just had one good day of cosplay and not all three. Because I know it is tiring. JT's here in the chat. I think he can confirm that it is taxing, exhausting, and the days are long in general. So I imagine being in cosplay all day certainly adds to it. Daddy Josh, let's get it. Member for 31 months. Holy shnikes. Oh my gosh. I left my McBot's bucket hat in the hotel room. Oh no, wish I brought it to have y'all sign it. Also inspired to do cosplay for next time. Will you guys do one? Well, maybe we'll actually be able to get Borgullet next time. I know we were hyping up Borgullet for Japan, but that would have been very difficult to fly with. Borgullet in LA, y'all. We just have to drive it over there. So maybe we will try. I wouldn't know where to start, what material even to use. But mark my words, we are going to make it happen, especially because I think a lot more folks, there's a lot of influencers, obviously, in the LA area. We could recruit. We could get a Borgullet crew going. So stay tuned. If not Borgullet, what else would I do? That's what I've been thinking about. I'm trying to think of one that would be relatively easy to do. I think Padme Geonosis is like a go-to. Excuse me. And I saw so many girls rocking that look at Celebration. So I think that would be fun. Because here's the problem with doing a Padme look. I physically cannot do anything with my hair. That's why I chopped it off, y'all. That's why I got rid of it. And I'm thinking next time I'm gonna go even shorter. I have never been good. God nerfed me because he was like, we're gonna make it so that you can't do anything with your hair. I barely know how to use a curling iron. I don't even know how to braid my hair, let alone execute any of Padme's ornate hairstyles. Because I was taking notes, y'all, because we were at that prequel marathon on Thursday evening. Excuse me, more like Thursday the entire day. It started at 3 p.m. and we got out of there after 10. And I was looking, like, every scene Padme has a wardrobe change, and I'm like, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. Oh, her hair is in like 50,000 braids here that are all entwined around each other. No, I can't do that. Inquisitor Charlie, now that would be sick. That would be super fun. And to walk around in a mask, oh my gosh, to get to live out my sleep token dream and be anonymous and walk around with a mask all day and be elusive, that could be cool. Not the poor gullet, that would be nuts. We would just go up to people and like wrap a tentacle around their temples. Oh my god, that would be so fun. Mark my words, y'all, we're gonna find a way to make it happen. Just like I saw that man with a full-fledged tauntaun. Somebody built that. I'm going to learn to build. I am going to learn to build. I call the belly button. For real, we're going to assign body parts. I assume we need at least 3 operating the body. And several others puppeteering the tentacles. So it's going to be a full production. How about Padme in her Naboo battle outfit from Phantom Menace? That's not bad, Matthew. And that would also be a comfortable Padme one. There were so many girls there who were gorgeous and obviously these like divine Padme gowns, but even just wearing a dress all day, I was like, oh my gosh, power to you. Because that is equally, it's not necessarily full-fledged armor, but there are things about wearing a dress all day that are also not comfortable. So everything has its own ups and downs, pros and cons, lack of comfort. So we shall see. Need more movie reactions. I'm gonna get on it. I swear to you, STV Ford. Throw out ideas. I have ideas in the chamber, but I'm second guessing all of them because I was gonna do like, okay, Gladiator 2, since I did the first Gladiator, but unfortunately I don't think there would be any popular demand for that one because people don't really like it, from what I had heard. I hear it doesn't hold a candle to the first one, so it's like, okay, I would happily watch that on my own time, but maybe not subject you all to it if people didn't like it to begin with. I gotta finish the Alien franchise. Ooh, other ones. Because this is on my mind. Should I do Tron, y'all? Because at the theater on Thursday and today, because we went to see Revenge of the Sith again this afternoon, there's obviously that new Tron Ares film coming out with Jared Leto. And on Thursday night, like, people, like, the crowd was like, oh, like, freaking out for that one. And I know nothing about the Tron franchise, but I hear really good things about it. And it's sci-fi, right? So I feel like it would be applicable to the channel. And then there was a trailer for, I think it's 28 Years Later. But actually, let me check now while we're live. I was interested because I was like, oh, I should get into this because I saw people freaking out when this was announced on Twitter. But the OG ones, what's the whole franchise? 28, it starts with 28 Days, right? Is it 28 Days from 2002? Okay, so it is watchable. I just have to pay for it. Oh, I could watch this. Maybe I'll react to this. Because we were watching the 28 Years Later trailer, which is really sick. And it's got a stacked cast. Jodie Comer is one of my favorite freaking actresses. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he rocked it in freaking Nosferatu. So I'm on the Aaron Taylor Johnson hype train now after that. But I know it's a larger franchise, and I need to get into that. But I had heard that none of the earlier films are like available on streaming. So I was like, frick, have they been wiped from the internet? But there's no way. If this next one is coming out, they have to be accessible. But yes, I could do it on Prime. And then what comes after 28 Days Later, right? Is there another one? 28 Weeks Later? Is this related? Ooh, Jeremy Renner? I assume it's related. Let me know. Help. I'm consulting y'all, professionals. Ooh, Charlie suggests Last Samurai. For real, I gotta get into that one. Talk about another epic score. Have you seen Fifth Element? It gives strong Star Wars vibes. I have not. That could be fun to stay in the sci-fi realm. I still want to do horror, y'all. I haven't done a scaredy cat in a hot minute. I gotta get back into that. You can do anything you put your mind into. Do I need to pull out Letterboxd for movie recommendations? I gotta get into Letterboxd, y'all. I created an account. I just forgot all my information, my login. Tron Ares is coming. Yes, do it. I've never seen Tron, but the Ares trailer looks sick. Right, Daddy Josh? It was so mysterious. There was like very minimal dialogue and no explanation, which I freaking love. Y'all know how trailers these days, I feel like they give out the whole movie plot from start to finish. And it's like, well, that was 3 minutes long, and now I know the whole synopsis. I don't need to go see it. Y'all just gave me everything. I feel like trailers just ruin everything these days by revealing too much and don't even build your intrigue. Whereas the 28 Years Later trailer, it's very eerie, minimal reveal. You're kind of just like, what the frick is going on? And that piques your interest because you're like, now I got to find out what's going on. What's up? Watch Tron and Tron Legacy. Are those the only films in that franchise? Okay, yes. Okay, so I only have 2. Okay, phew. I don't have that much to catch up on. Phew. This one's from 1982. I did not realize it goes back that... I have some work to do. I have to catch up. But yes, again, similarly with the Ares trailer, I was like, this looks hype. 28 Days Later is one of the best zombie movies. Okay. Well, that could be good because... sorry, I'm just Googling everything y'all are saying in the chat. Somebody suggested Apocalypto. I've never seen that one either. I'm into zombies. Sorry. I'm into that. I'm back. I finished my Duolingo streak. We're good. Good for you, Simply. I can relate. Oh my gosh, I used to be a Duolingo fiend until I realized that I wasn't getting anywhere with it. 28 Days and Weeks Later is fire. Okay, okay. You should watch the new Mortal Kombat. I know nothing about Mortal Kombat. But wait, isn't no, I'm thinking of something totally different. One that I was curious about is Dungeons and Dragons, which I also know nothing about, but that movie was getting rave reviews. Like, I see people go crazy for this movie on Twitter saying that it like deserves more love. And that it is actually really enjoyable, and that even if you know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons, yeah, 91% Rotten Tomatoes. I've heard really good things about that. The reassuring things I've heard being, if you're like me and not well versed in Dungeons and Dragons, you would still enjoy it, and that is just a good time, a fun watch. So I've been curious about that. Omi Wanda, homie. Hello there. Love seeing you at Celebration. You would make a perfect Omega. I would? Oh my gosh. Well, it was great to see you as well. Thank you for the Omega suggestion. That could actually be cool. Catch me with a blonde pixie cut in 2027, y'all. I saw someone who had an incredible Omega, and she crossed paths with... I was just chilling, taking a break, drinking some water, and there was a hunter. Excuse me, no, there was a wrecker. And then Omega came up, and that was another fun thing too, like seeing people who were, you know, same cosplay, same show, different characters, and they would find each other and be like, oh my god, we need a picture together. Like the camaraderie, just the immediate friendship in those moments that you could see sparking when two people saw each other and would be like, we need a pic. And I was lucky to be there because then this crowd gathered around because this girl's Omega was incredible. And I was just so mind blown because I could not tell. She was shorter than me and she was so petite. And I couldn't tell if she was actually like a 14-year-old or a grown woman. She was incredible. She was traveling with an older guy. So I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this is just like a very short grown woman who's just rocking Omega. But she looked incredible. And she and Wrecker were taking these pics together, and there was this whole crowd around us. And she had the bow and everything, and it was glowing. I was like, how do you do this? So yeah, that I don't even know if I could top that. She was perfect. I wanted to share. I didn't know what the protocol was. I've seen other people doing it, and I assume when you go to Celebration, you submit your likeness just inherently by being there. You assume that you're going to be potentially filmed on camera, or your photo taken and whatnot. Even if you're just appearing in the background of live shots or whatnot. And so I didn't know what the etiquette was with cosplayers, and when it comes to, I took photos of awesome cosplay that I saw, because I think that's an understanding among the cosplay pros. Like, if you show up looking epic, people are going to want to take your pic. But I didn't know what the etiquette was when it comes to like posting online. So I would share it, but I just don't know, because it's two strangers that I don't know if they want their photo all over the place. But again, I assume if you are going to Celebration and you look sick and you show up in this insane cosplay, you want to have your picture taken, or you're accepting. And that was another thing too. I was like, who's all here? These are all just other fans here too that are just doing photo ops now, like as Darth Vader or as clones or stormtroopers and whatnot. It was just so much to take in, such culture shock. Have I seen the Hunger Games? I have, Julian. I have. I got to get my hands actually on Sunrise on the Reaping, the new Haymitch prequel. Dungeons and Dragons is really great. Okay. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Yes, that is a good movie. And I am in a D&D group too. Okay, so this one has the seal of approval. That would be good. That's good to know. Sorry, my brain blanked. Dungeons and Dragons goes a long way back. The original RPG game came out in 1974. I did not know that. So, Catherine, what did you think of Star Wars Celebration? Oh my gosh, I can't freaking wait to go again. I wish I could live like that forever, y'all. It hit me while I was there. I was just standing in the crowd one day at the live stage. They're bringing out all these epic guests, and I was just like, this feels like one of those school field trips, where you have no other responsibilities, and you get to just go, or like, I guess the best way I can describe it is like when I was in high school, I would get out of school for like 3 days at a time or over a weekend and go to like the thespian conference, which is for theater kids. And you would like go with all your friends and then just watch all these other schools put on their shows and, watch other schools' plays and whatnot and cheer each other on. And there would be competitions, just theater kid games, and you meet a bunch of other people. I was like, this feels like that again, but just like as an adult. Where you get to just have no other responsibilities, you forget about the outside world, and you get to just live, breathe, and absorb what you're passionate about amongst thousands of other people. And then the reality hit me. I was like, oh, I can't do this all day, every day. This can't be real life. This isn't permanent. I have a life to go back to. It would hit me so many times throughout the day. I was like, hold up, we're in Japan right now. Like, you get so absorbed in the celebration that you forget where you even are, and you're like, I forgot. I mean, I'm not in America. I forgot I'm in freaking Japan. What the frick? Like, just so many mini realizations throughout the day of like, oh, I just wish this could be all day, every day. But alas, it cannot be. Davey9 asks, have I watched Arcane? I have not. But for real, y'all, I think that's going to be my next animated show that I watch on my docket when I finish Legend of Korra. Because I saw people losing their shiz over that show. I think there's emotional damage involved from what I've seen on the internet. So I think if y'all approve, I think that's going to be our next animated endeavor. And I think it's a lot shorter, less material than Legend of Korra, which I know I'm slowly like molasses crawling through, but I think it's because I'm just subconsciously trying to savor the end, and also because this month of April was just void for me in general with going out of the country and celebration and whatnot. So May, I'm gonna get my shiz together and finish Korra, and then I think I'm gonna start Arcane, because that's only 2 seasons deep, correct? And let me just I can look it up now. We have technology. We can just look it up now. Episode guide. without spoilers, 9 episodes in season 2 and 9 episodes in season 1. Yes, very achievable. We could do this. So yeah, I think that's next on my show docket. I honestly kept forgetting I was in Japan too, says Daddy Josh. For real. For real. Jerry's joined. Let's go. Hey, Kat, what's up? Just got home from the theaters watching episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith. Let's get it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have to talk about that, y'all. Unpack that. Holy smokes. Life-altering experience. I could not believe how many things I just never noticed visually, but more important, like audio, like audibly, things that I feel stupid that I never picked up on or just could never hear from, you know, the confines, the limitations of an at-home sound system, you know. For example, this is going to sound so freaking obvious, and I'm sure some of y'all are going to be like, what? You never heard that? But in Revenge of the Sith, the beginning after Anakin decapitates Dooku, and Palpatine's, you know, egging him on, like, essentially gaslighting him. If you think about it in hindsight, but that's a whole different story, because Anakin's literally, he tells Anakin to do it. Anakin's like, no, I really shouldn't. He pressures him, he peer pressures him to anyway. And Anakin still says, I shouldn't do that. And then Palpatine plants the seed in his mind. He's like, you wanted revenge. As if it was Anakin's idea all along, which it was not. Anyway, sidebar. Afterwards, when he's like, it was only natural, you wanted revenge. Remember what you told me about your mother and the Sand People? And then you hear the Tusken Raider screech very faintly in the background. I never heard that, team. Never heard that. All my years on this life. I was today years old when I heard that, or excuse me, on Thursday. I was Thursday years old when I heard that Tusken Raider screech for the first time in that moment. And I was like, that's probably like one of the most basic audio Easter eggs in this movie that I failed to ever hear. Do I need to get my ears checked, or is it just the fact that I've been, again, watching on the limitations of an at-home sound system? So many just new revelations and things that I heard and saw. Preston has joined. Let's get it. I'm gonna go watch it tomorrow for the 3rd time. For real, like, they need to, if they don't start doing this annually, I think this is on track to be one of the highest grossing re-releases of all time. Every theater that we've gone to has been packed. You know, I'm sure it was like a fight to get tickets, depending on what showing you're going to. Like, we had to go to a matinee showing today because all the evening ones were full. It's crazy, the demand. It's like, how can, surely they have to see the numbers that they're raking in here. Now, I am curious, since it's, well, yeah, I guess Disney would still make all the profit. They acquired it, even though these are, you know, the George Lucas pre-Disney. Surely they still are reaping in some of the millions of dollars this is bringing in. I don't know. I don't fully really even care who the money's going towards, as long as if they make up their mind and are like, hey, people love this. There's popular demand for this. Let's do this every year. And it was my first time as well, Chop, seeing it in the theaters, because I was maybe only 8 years old. And I kind of see now why I wasn't allowed to go see this in theaters as a child, because it is more intense on the big screen. Things like Order 66 on the big screen, just in general, so much more just breathtaking and visceral, and everything hits heavier. And, you know, again, another thing that both Tom and I noticed that we never heard before, out of the million times that we've already seen Revenge of the Sith, during Padme's death, her heartbeat, her heart monitor is going in the background throughout the entirety of that scene. And then it stops and goes silent as she dies. I never freaking heard that, y'all. Broke my heart all over again. Like, not that I went into this being like, oh, well, how much more special could it be on the big screen? No, I knew it was going to slay. I knew it was going to go hard. I knew I was going to finally unlock a life achievement that I've just been dying to, you know, avenge my younger self and finally go see this movie on the big screen. But I just wasn't expecting for all these other visceral senses to be triggered, or for it to just break my heart all over again. Like, can we ever catch a break? Hayden better be getting some of the bread from this. He was doing the marketing for it, I'm sure. I hope, Daddy Josh. He is having his renaissance, though, as somebody said in the chat earlier. And I'm so here for it. He's got to be running on fumes, though, y'all, because he was doing so much in Japan. I imagine the photo ops and the signings are so draining. You can even just, like, it's exhausting, even just standing in the queue as a layperson, just being there, let alone being the person who has to have the smile on your face for like thousands of photos all day, meeting people, having to keep that smile on your face. Like it's I'm sure a lot. Then to travel back to the US, I'm jet lagged, I'm feeling it, I'm sure he is. And then to have to continue to do all this marketing, he's probably like, oh my God, just gotta get through. And then he'll be free. He's in the home stretch. But yeah, I hope he's getting his bread. My audience clapped through the youngling scene. Oh God. I don't even know what I would make of that. Admittedly, watching Attack of the Clones on Thursday was hilarious because everyone was just laughing and roasting all of Anakin's cringy attempts at flirtation. And every time he would get shot down by Padme, it was just hilarious to watch that one, especially in a room full of people. I didn't realize how much people were gonna freaking laugh. I guess now seeing, you know, the room just like roasting Anakin and all his, you know, cringy one-liners and whatnot, I guess I can start to see why the public perception for Attack of the Clones, why it doesn't rank more favorably for most people. But for me, that was always my favorite one. So all this time I've been like, why does everybody hate this movie? Blah, blah, blah. And I, you know, now that I've seen, I have a better understanding of why it's not everyone's first choice, and that is okay. That is all right. How is that Yoda and Dooku fight in theaters? Oh, you know it's my freaking one of my favorite ones. Oh my gosh, sick. So just, it was all just like so much more intense, almost even like just too much to take in. But you see all these new things, new facial expressions, you know, mannerisms from the characters. You can see every pore on their face. Like Yoda looked gorgeous on the big screen. But yeah, but Dooku, that was one thing I don't think I've ever had an appreciation for. Christopher Lee's fighting stamina. Because I guess you just inherently know it's like, oh, Christopher Lee, he's a badass. He's Dooku, you know, he's Saruman, like, you know, he's all these highlight incredible villain roles from our childhood, my childhood at least. But I feel like I had always taken his performance as Dooku for granted, and so I really took that in more, as you know, especially watching Attack of the Clones again. You know, his initial confrontation with Kenobi when he's his captive, and you know, in that fight with Yoda, like what he's actually doing. And I never realized that Dooku has like one of the coolest sabers. Dooku lightsaber. It's like a curved hilt, right? Yeah. Freaking insane. Like, oh my gosh, how did I never notice that? I want that. It's so darn cool. Yeah, just so many things that I'm learning about the characters, the fight sequences, the audio, just everything. Attack of the Clones is goated. Whoever doesn't like it can eat my socks. Agreed, Preston. Agreed. Oh my goodness, I saw Phantom Menace in theaters for the 25th anniversary. It was so good. Duel of the Fates, oh my goodness, so good. I would so love to see Attack of the Clones in theaters. Simply same. That's why I was like, okay, well, we gotta wait for this, whatever the next big Attack of the Clones anniversary is, because that will complete our trifecta. We're collecting the Infinity Stones because we also saw Phantom Menace for the first time ever. Was that last year? Maybe the year prior? I think it was last spring. And we knew we were going to see Revenge of the Sith, and I was like, oh, my favorite though, Attack of the Clones, we'll just have to wait. And then literally it was while we were in, the airport getting ready to board our flight to head back to the US in Japan. And Tom magically got this ad on Instagram for the El Capitan, which was hosting the prequel marathon, the build-up to opening night of Revenge of the Sith. And so we were like, oh my God, go, go, go. We we were able to get some of the few remaining tickets that were left. And so I was so ecstatic because I was like, I can finally see Attack of the Clones too. Oh, it was so, I was so grateful for that, because that one is my favorite. Who's my most favorite Star Wars character of all time? They're all from the prequels, Jack. Definitely Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul. I don't know how that worked out. Again, that would not be the case if it weren't for the Clone Wars. And again, Sam Witwer and everything he did to reinvent that character for me. Because how the frick else are my favorite characters Qui-Gon and the man who murdered him? So that's just the duality of that is hard to explain or justify, because I don't even know. Chop says Christopher Lee was actually an expert in fencing and sword fighting, so he was actually able to do a lot of his saber fights himself. Yes, Chop, like that's one thing I think I never even fully appreciated. I was just like, oh yeah, Count Dooku, he's the GOAT. He's dunking on everybody. Another thing I noticed, y'all, that I can't believe I never recognized was in Attack of the Clones, when Anakin and Padme are running amok in that droid facility and they're both trying to just fight for their freaking lives. Anakin's arm gets, his fighting arm, his saber arm, gets stuck under that giant metal thing, and his arm is trapped. And I never realized the freaking foreshadowing of that his arm is mere hours later gonna get freaking chopped off. I was like, all these things that I just wasn't picking up on. Granted, I feel like I noticed more things having sat there for freaking 7 hours on Thursday of Phantom Menace, right into Attack of the Clones, right into Revenge of the Sith. Like, for example, Yoda, when, Padme is under attack in Attack of the Clones and they're trying to investigate who's targeting her, all these assassination attempts. And, Yoda says to her, it makes my heart happy to see that you're unscathed, from the failed assassination attempt in the beginning of Attack of the Clones. And then fast forward immediately after, then watching, Revenge of the Sith right after, and Yoda's there witnessing, Padme take her last breaths. And I never noticed how heartbroken he looks in that moment. And having seen that fresh off of Attack of the Clones, I was like, oh my god, yeah, like Yoda was fond of Padme and was happy to see that she was alive and well in Attack of the Clones when her life was on the line. And now here he is watching her, pass on. Jesus. So much that I never noticed. Like the tears in Yoda's eyes when he and Kenobi come across the slain Padawans sprawled across the floor in the Jedi Temple remnants, as he's realizing, not by a blaster, by a lightsaber, this Padawan was, like the heartbreak in his eyes and the tears in his eyes in that moment. You don't see these things on the computer. So just so many revelations. Padme was low-key Yoda's bestie. Exactly, Bew. Like, also, I'm sorry if I'm saying your username wrong as well. I interpret it as like pew, like a blaster sound effect. But please feel free to correct me and type out the actual, what the pronunciation would properly be. Oh, Chris, I hope they do a marathon of all the Lord of the Rings movies in theaters in the run-up to the new Gollum ones. And they better do the extended versions so you would be there for like 12 hours. Don't mean to change the subject, Kat, but you cut your hair. I did! Y'all, I wish I could have done it before Japan. I've been trying to get my hair cut for so long, but it's so expensive to cut your hair in LA. So I was like buying all this other stuff in the lead up to Tokyo and Japan and whatnot. And so my side funds were depleted. So I was just like, whatever. Haircut can be at the bottom of the list because I'm fine with, like, it's like the least of my priorities at times. That's why my hair gets so freaking long. And I had hair blindness for so long. Like I was just talking about this with Tom. How I'm like, I never realized how freaking long and just drowns me out my hair was. And so that's why I was like, y'all, I've been trying to do this since March because I had like a life crisis back then, and it was like, I need to just cut it off. I need to just get rid of it. get rid of the weight of the world. And so I finally did. So y'all get ready, because I might go even shorter than this next time, now that I feel so free. I like your hairstyle. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. Did you guys have breaks in all the movies? What did the day look like? We did, thankfully. They took maybe like a 10-minute break between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, so people were able to go up, get concessions, or use the restroom. And it was actually hilarious, y'all, because I would go to the bathroom and there would be this massive line for the men's room, and I was like, that's odd. And I was able to just walk right into the women's room. And then I realized, oh, it's because we're at a Star Wars. We were at a Star Wars showing, so for once, the ladies can just stroll right in and walk past the queue for the men's room. And then there was a 15-minute, there was a longer break between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So there was some downtime, but they tried to keep it going, because obviously I don't think they want you to be there from 3 a.m. till midnight, especially when they got to turn the theater over for more Revenge of the Sith the next day. But yes, it was very fun, and it was nowhere near as draining as I thought it was going to be. I was like, do I even have the stamina to sit through 3 movies back to back? I did, shockingly. I forgot that you live in LA, which means next Star Wars celebration, you don't have to go anywhere. For real, Preston. That's why we are going to go as Borgullet. That's why we couldn't bring him in our checked luggage this time around. We're gonna finally live out that dream next time. The ladies were the VIPs in that theater in that regard. For real, Daddy Josh. For once, we could have our selection of the stalls in the women's room and not have to wait in a mile-long line. I'm so embarrassed that it took me that long to register. I was like, why are the men's rooms popping? Our Queen Alice has blessed the stream with her presence. I am here since it has started pouring down whilst doing archery. So I was cut short. Okay, well, Alice, I didn't realize you were Katniss Everdeen over here. Alice is the true queen. She's out here doing archery, y'all. Are we going to catch you in the 2028 Olympics, Alice? Oh my gosh, that is so freaking cool. I never knew that. I'm glad you got the big screen experience of the prequels. Finally, me as well. Now I have to just get on board with the OG trilogy. I've never seen any of those, but I feel like those I see randomly pop up, especially in LA. I feel like a lot of indie theaters around here are just always showing original trilogy just randomly, not even if there's like a big anniversary or whatever. So I feel like that will be easier for me to execute versus like the prequels. I never thought I was going to be able to live that out. And Chris, you made a good point earlier with Lord of the Rings. I never got to see any of those in theaters either. I've told y'all the story of how we were just a little bit too young, but my older brother was at a riper age, so we were all still in elementary school. But my dad came and got my older brother out of school early to go see Return of the King, and me and my younger brother, who was maybe only like 3 at the time, he was maybe like 4. But he was watching Revenge of the Sith. We had to just be left out, left in the dust, kicked to the curb, and we were too young to go. So our older brother will always have that over us unless they do a re-release of those films. So I need to unlock that life achievement as well. I would need to know somebody in LA to stay with to afford to go to Celebration 2027. Well, depending on hotels. I mean, yeah, actually, that is going to be the one crazy thing. Some of us were talking about this in Japan because, holy smokes, people are not lying when they say that the US dollar to yen transaction rate is very favorable. We were straight up spending $7 on a full lunch for each of us, whereas LA, you're gonna spend $70. Like, genuinely not kidding. I freaking wish I was kidding. Brunch in LA costs like $70 for like 2 glasses of orange juice, maybe a mimosa, and 2 meals. And God forbid if you want a side of home fries. Like, prepare to fork over your kidney. So that's going to be god awful. Going from Japan prices where it's like, okay, I can justify buying, you know, everything that we bought in, you know, the Hot Toys store, you know, making some like extraneous purchases. You know, Tom bought himself, he invested in a really nice pair of headphones that are actually so cool because they're Star Wars customized. He got Darth Vader ones. So for certain cues or buttons and whatnot, you know, if you pause or when the headphones start up or power down, it makes a Darth Vader themed sound effect. So, you know, you were able to like justify these little gifts for yourself, the purchases that you make along the way, because you're not dropping an arm and a leg to get lunch. You know, like you're paying such cheap, like I would go and look at my you know, in my bank account and be like, oh, that was only $4, because in yen it's like, okay, this is 1,000 or something like that. So you feel like you're just spending Monopoly money because that's the numbers that you're rocking with. But then you go and look in your actual bank account and you're like, that was nothing. Did they even charge me correctly? Because I feel like I just robbed them. So unfortunately, LA is going to be a much different story where a water bottle is going to cost like $20. It's going to be crazy. But hopefully there's no correlation. There's no in LA inflation with like the merchandise and stuff like that, you know, like actual vendors and stuff. Because yeah, like even I don't think there should be, because even a t-shirt, you know, that Ewok t-shirt that Tom got, that triple XL one that I was wearing, you know, that was reasonably, if not a little like expensively, is that a word, priced? So I feel like that it shouldn't hopefully impact like the merch prices, but everything else of like hotels, Ubers, because our public transit here is a different story. Yeah, food, if you were to, you know, go elsewhere in downtown LA to try to get food before or after or during, you know, the celebration, it is going to be overall, unfortunately, not $7 for lunch, sadly. Alice, again, proving how she's the queen once more. I watched all 3 Lord of the Rings movies last year at the cinema. It was so much fun, but not as good as the extended versions, but still amazing. Oh my gosh, you're living all of our dream right now, Alice. That would be so cool. Did you watch them back to back in marathon style? Daddy Josh puts it perfectly. I might go alone, which is honestly fine since you are basically around family the whole time, literally. And that was one observation I learned at the Japan celebration too, especially in the hotel afterwards during like LobbyCon in the evenings. It's so easy and just natural to stir up conversation with complete strangers, and then you end up spending hours talking with them for the rest of the night, and you've made a new friend because you all have the easiest conversation starter in the world, which is Star Wars. Or, you know, if Tom and we were wearing our jackets, people would, you know, ask about that, and then we just would go into this whole, you know, 30-minute conversation talking about Celebration, talking about their other experiences with Star Wars and whatnot. Like, it is so easy to just strike up conversation with anybody there, because everyone's excited and you're all just buzzing off of your hype for the same thing. So that's why even you know, I just posted my day 2 vlog, and I mentioned that I had probably the most downtime where I was just flying solo on Saturday, but I felt completely, first off, you're just also surrounded by hundreds of thousands of other people. So your personal bubble, you're never alone. You're constantly brushing shoulders with people trying to get by, but you're just in the presence of that many other fans and whatnot. Like, it's impossible to feel alone. So yeah, it's just undescribable. But you're so right, Daddy Josh. Everyone there, it does just feel like one very large nerdy family. Mark my words, one day I will be attending Star Wars Celebration. Just don't know that it'll be 2027. Chop. I hope for all of our sakes it is, but for yours especially, that would be so amazing if you could go. Did the room just change color? Asks Jay. It did, because our members have control of the lights. The light configuration here, which I will remind them if y'all want to change it. You know the rules, exclamation point, and then whatever color you want. So if you have noticed, yes, the room is changing colors. A celebration in Chicago would be the best scenario for me. but I have a feeling they won't be going there for a while. That was among one of our guesses, Chop. I really thought it was going to be East Coast. So like genuinely, like we're grateful that it's LA. But I really thought it was going to be something on the East Coast. And also shocking that they picked LA and not Anaheim, because with Anaheim, I guess the assumption is, okay, anyone who's going to travel that distance anyway, LA, you're what, less than 2-hour drive away from Disney. So I guess the assumption, Anaheim, you're right there. It's right near, you know, you can piggyback your celebration trip onto Disney. But I guess if you're traveling from afar to go to LA to begin with, you might as well tack Disney on if you're interested in general. So I guess that's why it came as a surprise to us. Did you get any friendship bracelets? I did not, but we got some stickers and pins. And I admittedly didn't know that the kind of trading of swag was such a big thing until like the week out before we left. And I was like, shoot, I would have loved to do something like this. I genuinely had no idea that was like a thing. And so when I got there, I didn't know what the protocol was, but so many people were kind enough. I think the etiquette is like some people, if they exchange swag with you, it's proper to give something in return as like a trade. But obviously I didn't have anything in exchange, but so many people were kind enough to gift us just free pins or patches or stickers. Tom got a very cool Cal Kestis sticker from somebody on like the first day. So now I have learned to remedy that and to pregame and prepare for that, because I would love to even do like, I guess most people give out like stickers, can't freaking speak, stickers, patches, bracelets, pins, buttons. I would love to try to maybe do like something like hand drawings or something like that, or like do a few different like little trading cards, almost like designs, and get like prints of those, like, and like as playing cards or something like that, of like drawings, and hand those out. That could be really cool. I didn't even know there was a roof ever. McBots is talking with Avian. I guess Avian was there as well. I'm sorry I missed you if that's the case, or if our paths crossed. I'm glad. Hanging out at the Appa Hotel roofs were the best. Didn't even know that hotel had a roof. Was it on the frickin' 50th floor? Because if so, that's crazy. But yes, we just spent most of our time in the inside lobby con. Yeah, I had no clue that there was a roof there. That is wild. Getting tired, so I'm turning in. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Matthew. Yes, I am forgetting. For y'all on the East Coast, it is after midnight, so shout out. Happy Sunday. Happy early Sunday morning, y'all. For my East Coasters in the future. But yes, if I go to a Star Celebration, my cosplay idea is to cover myself as much as in as much Chopper apparel and merch as possible. I'm talking head to toe. Chop, you should, because then we'd all be able to identify you, unless you didn't want to be found, unless the goal is to. But I'm sure, I think we all know who Chop's #1 fan is, so I'm sure it would be easy to scope you out. That would be hilarious. I'm pretty sure, actually, I don't know if there were like, because sometimes there's like big versions of like the droids or whatnot, or even people dress up as they somehow configure a droid outfit. So I'm trying to remember if we saw like there were obviously like gonk droids and stuff like that. So I'm trying to remember if there was like a Chop out on the floor. Good night, Jay. If you are peacing out, thank you so much for being here. And to all, yes, if you all have to. We might not go for much longer either. I didn't even realize it's after 9 yet. And my voice is freshly recovered. So I don't want to put it to too much of the test, because I still have to do another voiceover for the day 3, the Sunday vlog. So we may not go for too much longer. And I know it's getting late. And if y'all are like me, see, I'm only still rocking right now because we have the jet lag coming back. So like, y'all, It's not fair because I never adjusted while I was over there. I was waking up so freaking ungodly early, which is not natural for me. I am not an early riser. So if you're watching my vlogs and you're like, wow, she was up and at it at 3 o'clock in the morning, that is not normal. That is I cannot even convey how abnormal that is for me, because if I could, I would sleep till noon every day. Is something probably clinically wrong with me? Yes. I don't understand, and even Tom tries to tell me this as well, because it's not normal. Even on the weekends, I'll get like 13 hours of sleep and still somehow be exhausted. And Tom's scientific argument is that the more sleep you get, the more tired you are. I guess it just, you have permanent drowsiness or whatever. I don't know. But if it were up to me, yeah, I could physically sleep till freaking like 12 o'clock every day. And still be tired. So waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning is, thankfully it came in clutch that way around, because we were supposed to be getting up early to go start queuing. I'm not even kidding, y'all. Like, queuing, I was getting there at 6:45 in the mornings some days, and there were already a bunch of people there, which means folks must have been there by like 6 a.m. if not earlier. So it worked to our advantage. I was able to capitalize on it. But I never got over it, you know, in Japan. Even the one day that we were able to like sleep in a little bit, I still was getting up freaking before like 6 a.m. So I just never got accustomed to Japan time. So I was like, okay, maybe this is fine because I'll go back. I never got adjusted over in Japan. So maybe my body's just never left LA time. And I'll just assimilate back at it immediately when I go home. Nope, because we got back. I made the mistake of passing out on the couch Monday evening after our return at like 8 p.m. I should have tried to hold out a little bit longer than that. And I woke up in this frenzy, and I genuinely was brain blasted. I had no idea where the frick I was. I genuinely thought I was still like in Japan. I had no idea. I couldn't recognize my apartment. It must have been this weird like sleep paralysis thing or something. It was insane. I thought we were still on the plane. It took me way too long to register that I was in the comfort of my own home. And then I was freaking awake that whole first night back till 2 a.m. So now it's not great, because now I'm staying up late and waking up later in the day. And I gotta get back on it. I was just starting to be a responsible human, because that is my normal schedule. I usually am a night owl because I like to edit late at night, or watch shows, binge stuff, or read. And stay tuned, y'all, because I have turned into a reader. I'm going to start doing more book reviews on this channel. So I know I was posting about it on my Instagram story a few weeks ago, but the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown, I'm going to have a video review coming out for that soon, to try to spread the gospel of Red Rising and get y'all into it, because it changed my freaking life. So normally, as of late, it's been staying up to read until like 2 a.m. But I've been trying to remedy that and be responsible and actually go to bed at an appropriate time so I can wake up earlier to capitalize on the day. So all this is to say, I was jet lagged there, now I'm jet lagged here. And it's just have to get back adjusted. Hence why I was like, let's capitalize on this and do a Night Owl stream. Simply, oh my gosh, I probably missed you. Thank you so much for being here. Julian, member for 39 months, master level, let's get it. How is your day going? Cool that you got to meet Hayden and Sam, very cool. Wearing your Vader earrings. Didn't see the Darth Maul pendant? No, because I was scared I was going to lose it. I was scared that I didn't want to. I'm really bad traveling with jewelry. Literally. I was telling Tom, like, I travel with some like certain rings and stuff like that have just gone missing for years, and I just assume that they get lost in transit when I travel and whatnot. So I didn't. Jewelry is like the one thing that I typically tend to lose while I travel, and so I did not want to lose that. That is precious cargo. Hoping to be there in LA for Star Wars 2027. Yes, that would be sick. Oh my gosh. I hope so as well. Yeah, hopefully I get to meet more of you guys if more folks are able to go to LA. That would be sweet. Felt the same after both nights. I got 13 hours of sleep, and then 3 the night after. Says Daddy Josh messed me up. For real, I'm still messed up. Oh, I was not able to sleep at all during the flight, asks Chris. I cannot sleep vertically. It is unfortunately a lack of talent of mine, a flaw of mine. Did I do the audiobooks or physical or both? You know what? I just read the physical book. But I hear that people start to do them in tandem now, which I want to get into because allegedly the audiobooks for Red Rising are sick. They're like full-fledged, like graphic audio productions. So I was like, dang, if I reread these, I would love to do that. Because I like having different character voices and stuff like that. Sound effects, music. Audiobooks, especially, I think I've said this before, like the Star Wars produced audiobooks are like a movie in your head. They have Star Wars music in them. They're great. Next meetup will be huge. I bet. I hope so. I hope so. That would be so much fun. But yeah, stay tuned, y'all. Book reviews in the works. I had a goal for myself. Actually, follow me. If y'all are on the app, I don't know. I think it's more of a girl-centric app right now. It's called Fable. If you follow me over there, I'll follow you back. It's essentially like Letterboxd, but for books. So you can create lists of what you're currently reading, what you have read, lists that you want to read, and then you can write reviews as you finish each book. It shows you other people's reviews. So it's a great way, like if you have something on your want to read list, it'll show you in your algorithm reviews of other people, non-spoiler reviews from folks who have read those books to get you hype. Because I used to not, I mean, you guys know, I read the Dune books. I have it here, my gospel, Fire and Blood. But other than those, I have not read very much as of late. And everything I have read has kind of been with this undertone of like obligation. Like it was no secret. I started to read Dune because I had no idea what it was and I wanted to be in the know when the films were coming out. I read Fire and Blood because I was like, everything's already been spoiled for me at this point, so I might as well. Like, there has always kind of just been this undertone of I have to do this for X reason or as research because I want to be able to talk about it on the channel, you know? So I set a goal for this year to read 10 books, which I thought was lofty for myself because I haven't even read 10 books total since I graduated from high school, y'all. It is bleak out here. I just always have this excuse of I don't have time. When I know I do have time, I just spend that time doom scrolling on my phone for an hour every morning and then an hour in the evening and rotting my brain. So I was like, let me replace that hour at the start of each of my days with reading a chapter, even if it's just one chapter of a book, just doing that. Oh, Chop, thank you so much for being here. Wish I could stay and talk more, but unfortunately, it's time for your droid to power down. Yes, Chop, go recharge. Go boost your battery for the night. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence this evening and joining us for a very long overdue Night Owl stream, which I will have to bring these back. Y'all showed up and showed out tonight. I'm so grateful. This was so much fun. I didn't know if anybody was still gonna remember what these were when I mentioned it and put out a feeler. But yes. Yep, the House of the Dragon spoilers in the comments. Flashback, Charlie, for real. I feel still so much guilt that everybody, all the mods or anybody in the comment section had to witness those spoilers. So yes, that's why this came up. I was like, well, I need to know. I already know. So I might as well read it for myself. So that was my goal for this year, 10 books. And I'm already over halfway there. And so I'm like, this would be so much fun to start reading more books, doing more book reviews. So stay tuned. I'm going to do a book review for the Red Rising series on the channel. I don't even care if 2 people watch it. I genuinely, y'all, I'm not even conveying in full force right now how much these books consumed my freaking being. I'll get into it in the review, but I think, y'all, I'm gonna put a feeler out now. Again, this might be a video that I do just for funsies for myself, even if it gets 2 views, but I feel like it might perform okay because I know I've tainted y'all. I've corrupted some of y'all to be Sleep Token fans, and they're dropping their new album in a few weeks. And I know I get some requests at times to do like music reactions, and I've just never known what to do or how to integrate that into the channel. But like music reactions, like for me and Tom, that's our most watched reaction videos. We love music reactions. And I've just never done them or known how to do them or felt like it would be too random. But now that I've delved into Sleep Token a little bit on the channel, I'm like, I might just freaking send it and do a album reaction / review when that drops. I think it's May 9th. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be so random. Again, it might get 2 views. I don't even care. That's the vibe going forward for the rest of this year. Yeah, I got to do more. I'm going to definitely branch out and start doing some more film reactions, even if they seem so random and like they have nothing to do with the current roster of films that we've watched. But we've already been in the midst of branching out and watching some different franchises and whatnot, even if they're not in the sci-fi realm. I think the horror was our biggest step into a different world. And here I am now, a horror fiend. I'm just corrupting myself in many different ways. With the heavy metal music and the horror films. It's a miracle we're still we haven't gone full-blown goth and y'all don't see me out here with like jet black hair and tattoos and piercings, y'all. But for real, I told Tom this at Star Wars Celebration. I really want to get a Darth Maul tattoo. I don't know if I'm ever going to be cool enough to do it, but I don't know. Just being at Celebration, seeing other people's really sick tattoos, it inspired me. And I was like, I know I'm always going to, unless they botch it, unless the Darth Maul show turns out to stink, I'm always going to love this character. I want something to commemorate. Just, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Who knows? Who knows? If I ever do it, I'll vlog it, but speaking about music, Cat, I got my nephew into Sleep Token. Yes, spread the gospel. Daddy Josh as well. I had never heard of them before your vlog, and now I've got them on my main playlist. Yes, literally, metal music changed my life, and so far the vibes for Sleep Token's new album, it hasn't been too heavy. So I'm curious if it's even gonna have a lot of metal in it, because I wouldn't categorize them as a metal band, but they just get swept up in the metalcore scene. My headcanon is that they just made whatever music they wanted, and they at some point screamed in one of their songs and then got just like swept into the metal conversation, when really they don't even fully abide by that, I don't think. So we'll see. That's why I was like, I want to react to the album, because it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. So, but I'm glad. And that's also the other ulterior motive, is to spread the word and corrupt the rest of y'all. But Charlie, yes, many channels do it, and I don't know how to stay away from the copyright police department. That's why I've never done music reactions. I don't know how they do it. I think I'm going to handle it similarly to how I do film and television, which is where I don't show the full episode. I try to chop it. I think that's what I'm going to do. People are probably going to hate that, because typically music reactors play the whole song, but they just speak intermittently throughout. They play a portion, and then they talk before it goes on for too much longer. That's not how I listen to music, nor do I want to listen to the brand new album like that. I don't want to pause in the middle of songs just for the sake of talking, so it might be more so review than actual reaction. I'll see what I can get away with. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna try. You should design your own tattoo, says Alice. I've designed tattoos for other folks, which is really cool. So if I ever were to do one, I would totally design one myself. I've had a bunch of tattoo ideas. I've just never sent it. But like, my parents have it's not for lack of trying, or that I grew up in a household where my parents were like, don't get tattoos. Deshaun Christian, welcome. Thank you for joining. Unfortunately, I think we might be nearing the end. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go for, but thank you for tuning in for a little bit. Yeah, Mithrandir, music reactors stop during the song to give comments. I don't think I'm going to do that. I might just for hype moments of the song if I have some sort of visceral reaction, which is also why I'm like, I don't sit and listen to music and go, whoa, you know, like I do during film and television. So this whole video idea might be scrapped after I execute it and see how it goes. But yeah, it's not like my parents were like, don't get tattoos. My parents have a really sick joint tattoo. My brother just got a sick tattoo that looks freaking, that's what's really starting to get the juices flowing for me, because my younger brother got a really cool tattoo, and it just really inspired me. I was like, dang, you just became infinitely cooler, and now I want to be on that level. So that's why I'm like, I gotta do something, I gotta catch up. What is my Fable username? Good question, Chris. I think it's like Cat LaSalle or something like that. I definitely go by Cat on there. But my profile picture is a picture of me, if that helps at all. So yeah, I would check for you, but I'm currently using my phone as a camera, so unfortunately I cannot. Maybe I'll comment it on this stream afterwards. Good night, Oscar. Thank you so much for being here and joining. Huge fan of your work. Star Wars reactions, you're awesome. Well, thank you so much, Deshaun. Thank you so much for joining and sharing that. Oh, you just made my night. I'm glad you enjoy them. I'm glad we're back doing Star Wars reactions, y'all. Oh my god, we didn't even talk about Andor. The whole purpose of the stream tonight was to catch up on all the freaking things we're juggling right now. We had Celebration, Revenge of the Sith, Andor. Frick, I'll just give really quick thoughts and that will sum up this stream. Andor, holy shnikes. It's lit. We're never gonna get Star Wars like this again. I've just accepted that out of the gate. And that's a shame. Now, I will say, there has been this era of elitism surrounding, you know, Andor discourse and how it blows all the other shows out of the water. And yes, I just said it flat out. I don't think we are ever going to get another caliber of show. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I hope I say this and it reverse manifests into the universe, because it is truly in its own league, in its own stratosphere. That said, I love Andor. Y'all know it's my favorite of the live action shows. I still love Book of Boba Fett. I still love Mando, and they're different. They are not peas in a pod. They're just completely different flavors. One's peanut butter, one's jelly. Is the jelly especially fire and flames? Yes. Andor being the jelly, yeah. Like, I'm trying to soak it all in. I still cannot mentally believe that it's going to be over this quickly. However, can we all agree? I mean, shout out in the chat if you feel the same way, that this show, I think the way it is formulated, the arcs, 3 episodic releases, it warrants it. You know, at first I was like, is this going to be too much to take in? Which I do feel like it was. Like, I need to go and rewatch all of them. Like, it's a lot to process all at once. But I think that's the point, to present it to you as in the form of like a film, you know, an episodic arc, so that you get the satisfaction and the full story, the scope, the way it's meant to be taken in. And you don't have to be bogged down by, like, you know, waiting week after week. So I'm fully on board with the release schedule. It's just a shame that it means it's going to be over before we freaking know it. And it is the best Star Wars. So it's like, well, frick, we're going to have this for 4 weeks and then it's going to be gone forever. But yeah, it's like, holy frick, Tony Gilroy, how did he write this knowing that it would be unnervingly, like, scarily relevant to the times that we are living in now, especially if you live in the United States? Not going to get into it, but it's very applicable to real freaking life. It almost kind of feels like when The Last of Us came out in the midst of the global pandemic, and we were like, are we even watching fiction or is this real? The reality, the way it mirrors our reality is just kind of scary. But I think Tony Gilroy even said, he's like, I'm not a fortune teller. I just looked to, you know, past revolutions in history, and history repeats itself, or just historical cycles, you know, of, you know, the oppression of the empire and stuff like that. So yeah, I just don't think we're ever going to get Star Wars like this again. The acting, the writing, everything is so freaking good. The writing between the lines, you know, the subtext, everything with Tay, oh my god, like, you know, the whole conversations between Mon and Luthen, and you know they're not saying the words outright of we have to nix this man, but reading between the lines and what they are able to convey in their performances, you can piece everything together. They're all talking in code, but you know exactly what they're saying. That it's so just well written. And I think somebody said this at the Andor panel, like, the show is written in a way that respects the smarts of the fans. Like, it doesn't act like its audience, it doesn't have to spell everything out as if the audience can't comprehend what's going on. It treats its fans with intellect. You know, does that make sense? I don't think I'm fully capturing. But, you know, it acknowledges that Star Wars fans, you know, are smart. We were watching the freaking prequels and all that political shiz when we were 9 years old. So, you know, it's, yeah, did I know what the frick was going on politically when I was 9 watching Phantom Menace? Did I know what the Trade Federation was? No. But still, it gives Star Wars fans credit to their intellect. And so it writes that way. It writes with the subtext, and the actors fill in the blanks. You know, Mon Mothma, you can tell from her reactions, the horror, the realization, the epiphany of, oh, Tay has to die. Oh, this is turning into like a mob show, because it's like Luthen is in the corner pulling the strings to, you know, get rid of their freaking loose ends. Anything I could put a target on their back. So it's just character arcs, character motivations, characters evolving. That's why, you know, for Bix, we don't have to get into it, because I already went on a very lengthy tangent and kind of wrote a little blurb in the comments of my episode 3 reaction. But for her, I'm like, this has to go somewhere significant for her. This all can't be for nothing, that she's gotten the most harrowing experiences on this show just repeatedly dealt to her. So where will that lead her? You know, the Bix that we met was already extremely strong and had an edge to her, in my opinion. So, like, I can only imagine what the frick is she going to look like down the line. They're all probably going to be dead down the line, because as many of you guys have been reminding me in the comments section, holy frick, yeah, Cassian, when we meet him in Rogue One, confesses he's lost everything. And we're already losing Brasso in episode 3, and I didn't think that was, y'all know, that didn't happen. That's not real. He's alive. Somebody had a great comment on that video that Cassian and him staged his death to begin with. It was all part of the plan. So, yeah, it's just, it's so much. All of the characters, the fact that it's this major ensemble piece, everybody has an intriguing, their own motivation. The villains, the fact that you are still rooting for Dedra, even though I think this is going to go into deep shiz for her. Cyril, you know? Dedra and Cyril. My brain is going to self-combust if I even think about that. I want to do a deep dive. Maybe I'll just do a little side video of, like, what does she see in him? What do they offer each other? Because they are kind of, are they two sides of the same coin? They share that same ambition, that same drive. Cyril obviously had it out for Dedra more evidently in season 1. So her actually engaging in this relationship with him is more surprising, but she's obviously not doing it for nothing. She's gaining something out of this, but what? So maybe I'll just do a little theory video of, like, what the frick does Dedra see in Cyril? I don't know. It's just so good from start to finish. I have respect now on her. For real, Alice, like, you know she cares about him because she was willing to freaking put his narcissistic freaking mother in her place. For his sake, she very much had empathy for the fact that he's going through, like, turmoil with his mom, because she repeatedly brings up his, you know, shortcomings and whatnot, and is constantly criticizing and, you know, diminishing all of his accomplishments. Even now he has everything, you know, he has accomplished what someone like her would probably deem suitable. You know, oh, he got a promotion, he proved himself, he started from the bottom, has the gorgeous, you know, girlfriend who has the, you know, power in the ISB. Like, they live in this great apartment on Coruscant, of all places. Coruscant's probably like the LA of the galaxy, you know, like ritzy and not freaking cheap. Like, he has everything that a mother like his could possibly want that would impress her, and she's still nitpicking. So for Dedra to put her in her place, it's like she clearly cares about him, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a little video. I'm gonna do a little video just for funsies. That's true. He saved her life in her most terrible moments. That's true, Mithrandir. So maybe she has this. That's why my initial thoughts were, this has got to be out of obligation. But maybe there could be genuine. Yeah, if somebody does that in the heat of that moment, that can certainly breed attachment. This hero complex. Yeah, I have a feeling next arc we are losing a big player. Charlie, at this rate, I think that's going to be every arc. They already came out swinging with this one, and I didn't think Brasso was going to be the first. So you know what? I think that's a safe prediction. On that note, friends, I'm sure y'all can hear it. My voice is starting to slip back. I'm losing it. And it is getting later. For those of y'all on the East Coast, it is approaching 1 o'clock in the morning. Still not too late for us night owls here in LA. The night is still a little bit young, but for our friends in the UK, I'm so sorry. I thought there would be more of you guys here. I did not realize. That's poor math on my part, that it is early morning Sunday for y'all. So I apologize for that. But maybe I'll start doing more of these solo streams. I know we've obviously gotten into the regimen of doing what the frick am I saying? Dork Discourse weekly on Tuesdays. But let me know if y'all want. I should bring it back, because I used to just do streams one-on-one hangout all the time. So maybe I'll do that at least for the duration of Andor, because we have so much to talk about and just unhash after the episodes. And you know what? That was fun when we did that for Acolyte. I would either go live like the next day or so just to chat about it. Sorry, it just stuttered like crazy right there. So maybe I'll bring these back, because this was really fun. And we also just had so much to unpack. And I just felt like I needed to catch up with you guys. Worth staying up for. Daddy Josh. That's what I aim for. I aim to please and give y'all a reason to be nocturnal. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. This was so much fun. It feels like OG old school days here on the channel. So I'm definitely going to do this again. Maybe we'll make this monthly. I'm saying this now, so hold me accountable, y'all. I have to just do more streams. It's been too long. Obviously, we have our Tuesday ones, but with just me and you guys, obviously we love Tom. And I clearly need a co-pilot because I can't talk. I can no longer go just like an hour of chatting myself, but these are so much fun, and we get to just catch up. I am here for the Andor saga discussion. Great to know, Oscar. Maybe we'll keep these up and have some Andor we can unpack. Next week, I'll go live again, perhaps Wednesday or Thursday, and we can discuss the next round of episodes. So until then, thank you all so very much for joining. I hope you've all had a great weekend. If you've been able to go see Revenge of the Sith, congratulations if it was also your first time seeing it on the big screen. I hope your life was equally altered. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, morning, evening, 3 a.m., literally, for some of y'all, wherever you may be. And I will see you guys again very, very soon. Thank you all so much for hanging out, my night owls. And get some rest. Sorry for keeping y'all awake. See you guys very soon.